You're listening to the Love Over Addiction podcast. Hey, it's Michelle. Was that a weird hey? I feel like I just said that really weird. Hey. I sounded like a pervert or something. Anyways, all right. Very interesting intro into the podcast, and I am not going to cut that out and redo it. You guys, listen, it is the holiday season. Is anyone as stressed out as I am? Not only, I know you guys are dealing with loving somebody with addiction, which brings on a whole separate layer of stress. But then if you have kids, they're doing their little recitals that you have to attend. They have holiday parties. You probably are doing lots of baking and entertaining and Christmas wrapping and all of it. So you guys, we can suffer together. But I know for a fact that you all deserve a medal because your level of stress is way, way, way higher than all the other moms or women in your community, because this disease does just add such anxiety and so much stress. So if you're looking for specific tools on how to handle the holidays, then we have done some excellent podcasts. I'm calling them excellent. I wrote them and put them together, so that's kind of conceited, but helpful. Should we say helpful? I hope they're excellent, but I'm not sure. Let's say helpful podcasts and blog posts that you can find at loveoveraddiction.com. And I'll put the previous holiday podcasts in the show notes for you guys so you can call on those resources. Because today we're not going to be talking about the holidays. We are going to be talking about something that I am super excited to discuss because we haven't discussed it yet on this podcast, and it is all about your safe space. Now, what do I mean by safe space? Like, is it a bunker that's like underground, or is it like some padded room, some random building? No, it is not any of those things. Your safe space is something that you need to have, capital NEED, to have if you love somebody suffering from this disease, because it is a place that you can go to if they have been drinking too much, or they are using drugs, or they're maybe even a dry drunk and behaving nasty or mean or yucky. You can go to this safe space within your home and get away from them. So I'm going to be talking today about what your safe space needs to consist of, and hopefully give you some inspiration to, if you don't have one, to create one for yourself. And you can think of it as a little gift to you for your holidays, okay? So, like I said, your safe space is mandatory. And there are so many women in our community, myself included, that love someone that's suffering from this disease that they, let's say we're going to sleep in bed, we're sound asleep, and they come in the bed and they roll over on the bed and they start snoring. That's really common, right? Because alcohol makes you tend to snore. And then all of a sudden, we're lying awake in bed, we're tired and exhausted, we're feeling resentful and angry that they're now disturbing our sleep. And what do? We can, push them and wake them up and tell them to roll over, but 10 minutes later, they're going to start their super loud snoring again. Well, in this scenario, you would excuse yourself and go to your safe space to go finish your good night's sleep. I'll give you another scenario that's really common that nobody talks about, but it is super, super common. Let's say you're asleep in bed and your loved one comes into your bedroom and they urinate either on the bed or next to the bed because they're drunk. you guys who are kind of cringing and making a gross face right now, because that's what I'm doing as I'm saying it, it happens. More common than you think, and nobody's talking about it. So in this case, in this scenario, if your mattress starts to smell, gross, I know, or, you're tired of like watching this or listening to this, this is when you would excuse yourself and go to your safe space. I'm going to give you another couple examples. Let's say you're in a heated argument, and you guys know, if you've been listening to this podcast or you've joined one of our programs, that I always advise you to disengage, to detach during an argument, particularly if they're high or drunk. And I tell you to grab your keys and to leave. But a lot of you tell me, Michelle, I've got kids asleep. It's not that easy. Now, sometimes I push back and say, look, it's never easy, but it's still the right thing to do. A lot of times the right thing to do isn't easy. But if for some crazy reason you cannot leave the house to get away from the abuse and the yelling and the disagreement, this is the time where you would go to your safe space. Another example is, let's say your kids are older. They're like between the ages of 3 and 18, and they're living with you. And their father is inebriated and being abusive to you or being abusive to them. Well, first and foremost, you need to grab your phone, obviously, and call the police. But before you do that, you would instruct them. If you weren't home, you would teach them. Or if you were home, you would go to your safe space. Do you see how important having a safe space is? Even if there's no abuse, even if there's no yelling, even if there's no snoring or urinating or whatever, just having a dedicated space in your home or your apartment to get away from the dysfunction of this disease, to get a peace and quiet and distance, that is a very healthy thing. That is a necessary thing to do when you are living in this kind of situation. This is mentally good, spiritually good, and physically good for you. And it is a gift for you and potentially for your kids if you have any living in the house with you. So safe spaces, in my opinion, are not optional. That's why I tell you they're mandatory. So what does a safe space look like practically speaking? Your safe space needs to have a door in an ideal situation, okay? So it needs to have a door and it needs to have a lock, because you guys know sometimes addiction can get way out of control and really scary. So you need to have a solid lock. And I've seen some women in our secret Facebook group actually go to Home Depot and buy a lock and install it on their doors themselves, because ladies, we can do that. We know we are smart, capable women, and we can operate a screwdriver or a hammer or a saw or whatever the heck it is that needs to happen. Okay? We are capable. And if you don't like that idea and you have the financial means, hire someone to do it for you. But get a lock and pick a room with a door. Now, for those of you that are like, Michelle, that sounds great, but I don't have an extra spare room with a lock and a door. Okay, fine. I hear you. For those of you that really genuinely cannot find a dedicated room, even if it's a laundry room for your safe space, then you can use the couch, okay? But here's the deal. You have to stock your safe space with supplies. It's not just good enough to have like an air mattress. So you want something to sleep on, because there will be nights where you'll want to sleep alone. So you have an air mattress, or you can have a spare bed. That would be even better. You need to stock it with supplies, with sheets, and blankets. Now, I don't want these to just be like the spare sheets that have stains all over them. We're going to treat this safe space like your sacred spot, like it is your heaven away from hell. It is your favorite place to be in your home. So you are going to treat it like it is just magnificent. You're going to go to a store this holiday season and you're going to buy the nicest blankets and sheets that you can afford. Now, for some of you, that stores might be Walmart or Home Goods or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The price doesn't matter. The point is that you have to love it and it has to be new. And these sheets and blankets are honoring you, and they are a gift to yourself. They are an investment in your sanity and your health. And if you come to me and you say, Michelle, there's no way I can afford that, I'd say, really? How much money have they spent on their addiction this week? I'm guessing more than $20. So why not take that money that's being applied for drugs or alcohol and apply it to yourself? Buy yourself some sheets, a blanket, get a candle. Candles are always wonderful. They create warm, beautiful light. They don't need to be scented if it bothers you, the scent bothers you. But if it is scented, take your time smelling every candle and really make the decision on what you like best. So ask yourself, do I like the smell of this? If not, put it down and try smelling another candle. The point is, you want to love the scent that you are now going to use to fill up your room. Also, take some pictures with you that you love of friends and family. Pictures that give you joy. Pictures of wonderful, fond memories. The pictures that you're going to bring into your safe space, they're not going to include your loved one. Sorry, no wedding pictures allowed, no pictures with them on vacations. You're filling it with pictures and images of things that bring you extreme joy. So it could be kids, it could be your parents, it could be your, homes that you've seen on vacations or special spots, good memories, the beach maybe even. And if you can, frame them. Frame your pictures and set them out around your safe space. Also, flowers. Flowers are a beautiful way to make you feel special. Now, sometimes it feels like extravagant or they feel like a waste of money, but they just make you feel special. They're a little treat for you. I get flowers occasionally from the grocery store and they're $5. I put them in a vase, and every time I walk by my flowers, I just smile. I feel good. So if flowers are your thing, get some flowers. Also, books. What do you like to read? Fill your safe space with books. They can be fiction, nonfiction, but here's the deal. They cannot be anything about addiction. They can't be anything about codependency. They cannot be anything that has to do with getting them sober. These books are just for you. They're words that will fill your mind and your heart with happiness and joy, maybe laughter, nothing depressing, and nothing that has to do with this disease. This is your disease-free, safe zone. Nothing in this space, nothing in this room reminds you of addiction. This is your new spot. And then you can bring in your favorite mug that you can fill with tea or coffee, or maybe you have a pitcher of water that you'd like to fill. The point is that this is your tranquility amongst the dysfunction. And this is your way of creating some peace and creating some space physically to think, to reflect, to enjoy, to separate, from this disease. And you can do this. This will be so rewarding. It's a project for you. And I know that you are very, very good at projects. So I have an assignment for you. Create your safe space this holiday season. This is part of your New Year's Eve resolution. Create your safe space and then send me a picture. I would absolutely love to see what you've done. You can post it in our secret Facebook group if you're inside of that, or just email it to us. We won't share it with anyone, I promise. And on the blog at loveoveraddiction.com, I've posted a picture of my safe space, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll also put it in the show notes for the podcast listeners, but I still have one, and I'm married to a great man who doesn't have a drinking problem, but y'all know I have a lot of kids, so I still need my tranquility and my safe space. It was a habit that I started when I was married to somebody with addiction issues, and I've brought it into my second phase of my life, and I love it. You can often find me on a Sunday with a really good book, curled up in my safe space with a warm, fuzzy blanket, and enjoying an hour or two of just complete solitude, which for me, as an introvert, fills me up. I hope that you found this podcast helpful, and if you have, I am desperately trying to reach 1,000 reviews by the new year. You guys, it's a really big goal because we have a long way to go. But if you leave a review, I would be so, so grateful. It's anonymous, so you can just a 5-star review or write something to me. I read every one of them, and it takes 5 seconds. Thank you so much. It helps other women know, helps this podcast get awareness. Please share it with your friends and family if you know somebody that's suffering from addiction. I love every one of you, and I'll talk to you next week.